Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, we're going to say, Call I am law, Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone. They rule and teach well. Peace and salutations to the hopefully elect, spreading the truth out the four winds. This is your brother, Hashab Bayath, calling back for edification of scriptures. Today's lesson, is going to be on preaching the word. We know as Israelite men and women. They try to tell you it's just the men. No, it's the men and women. You are to preach the word unto your peers. To seal the elect and call the nation of Israel back to their father, whose true name is Yahweh, and his only begotten son, whose true name is Yahweh Shai. Whose true name is Yahweh Shai. Okay? So, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, and verse 1. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coasts, and set him for their watchman, and when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the trumpet, sound of the trumpet, and taketh not warning, and the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We skipped over a lot. So it says, Son of man. Who is that? You Israelite men. Israelite men. Son of man, earth man. Man created from the dust. Speak unto the children of thy people. Who? The Israelites. They try to tell you that the Israelites is only black, Latino, Seminole Indians, but that's incorrect. It says that the children of Israel are going to be like the sand of the sea. All nations shall be blessed from us, from the Israelites. It says it's going to be Israelites throughout all nations. So it's going to be Israelites that look like the other nations, man. And you got to preach the word unto them. You can't get belligerent and jealous about the way other people's lives are. If they want to come preach the truth, allow them to do so. When I bring the sword, so it says, speak unto the children of thy people. What does it say? He that have an ear, let him hear. If you want to hear this word, you're not pricked by this word. If you're not pricked by this word, they come out and teach. Shit. And say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman. How do you say the word watchman in Hebrew? That's my first name. The heathens and my enemies, I decided I need to change my name once a year or something to that degree. So my original name was Shamar, meaning watchman. It says the sword, you gotta think of this, you gotta put your spiritual goggles on. Put your spiritual goggles on. So it says the sword. What's a sword? That's death. So it says when death comes, to protect the children of thy people, the Israelites, from death. You're going to have to set up watchmen. And that would be a prophet. A prophet isn't just a dork that sits around and reads books all day. A prophet, what does he do? He casts out devils. That's what the apostles did, the disciples of Yahweh Shai. That's what the elders and leaders and camp leaders were doing. All right, casting out devils. All right, curing diseases, man. Okay, things of that nature. All right, it says, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. All right, so it says when you got to set up a watchman, you got to blow the trumpet. All right, what's blowing the trumpet? All right, preaching this truth. All right, so you got to, so we done set up watchmen. We done set up prophets. All right, to push the truth. All right. And when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. All right, so when we come out and preach this truth, all right, you don't hearken unto it. All right, your blood is going to be upon your own head. All right, when you die, you're responsible for it. It don't matter if somebody came and killed you ridiculous way. All right, that's your own fault. All right, we all hearkened unto what the apostles done said. All right, don't turn your back on the plow. All right, and if you do, you're the 2/3. Okay, we all done had disappearing acts before. All right, the Edomites done thrown us in prison. All right, took our phones. All right, things of that nature. All right, that's happened to a good majority of us. All right, but you always got to come back and teach. All right. So it says he heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. So if you hear us telling you, go teach, and you refuse to go teach, all right, you going to die. All right. You going to die a painful death. But if the watchman sees the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people not be warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. All right, so it says if you set up a watchman, he doesn't blow the trumpet. He doesn't push that truth. He don't send out that warning. All right. He don't put out that warning. All right. What's gonna happen, man? All right, he gonna die too. All right, the Lord be taking people out, man, like clockwork. All right. Nigga think he got away with something, man. The Lord done struck him down a ridiculous way. Had him fall off a cliff. All right, he thought his enemy was gonna get him. No, man. And fell off a cliff. Man, I got pushed out of an airplane. And I got ran over by a train. All right. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me. All right, so that's unto you Israelites, man. With that being said, I'm going to close it out. I'm going to say, Call Lamb Law, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Rakakodash, Kwam Yasharala, Wa Ababa Ball. That being said, Shalom.